welcome to Jadekind Gaming. My name is Adam, and today I have another Dwarven Forge unboxing. This is the Explore the Swamp set from Dwarven Forge's Wildlands Kickstarter. And it is the largest single set that I got in there, although it consists of, it looks like, 12 smaller sets or smaller boxes inside. So we'll get this big box open. Take a look at what that division looks like. Okay. Also, these two I will get to later. They stuffed extra stuff in mine because I ordered extra texture mats. Alright, so I have one texture mat that comes with it. Here's a little set with a die taped on the top. Box. Just a general... Oh, this is a new one. This is a Wildlands thank you letter. So they've updated the imagery on that. Some of these are tiny little boxes. Some are not so tiny. And let's begin with the not so tiny. Okay. What do we got to start here? Got this stuff here. This should be a lot of the banks and such. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is my first time getting any of this in hand. Wow. These are large. And I can put a mini on it to kind of show sort of scale. You don't, I've seen minis on them to show scale. Doesn't quite do justice to it. But yeah, so we got whatever, really diagonal kind of bank here. It's got like a rotten tree stump with stuff growing in it. Stone. We'll see what this is for later. This, oh man, I'm pleased. These are nice. A nice feel, a nice level of trimming the bottom that they don't feel too heavy while still feeling very solid. Got these roots protruding out here. Small and large tree stump base. I mean, I guess it's cut down from the full size, the large ones from Dread Hollow Forest, but just seeing how big it is after being cut down, it's more than I was expecting. It's more than my brain had put together. Also, I love the little, is it blue or purple or I don't really know, detail that the swamp ones have. Very pretty. sort of the stone outset onto where the bank would be. I don't know if I showed the bottom of that. 2 small magnets. 1 small magnet. It's kind of nice to see how they're going to adhere to the terrain trays or not. Little dips into pools to make little areas there, and just with the geometry, they should all sort of fit together, just whichever one you grab. So you can have these continued banks or islands or whatever it may be. These are 2 different ones. This one being double-ended. So one goes up to here. So if 2 of them come together, you can terminate them there. Otherwise, a nice flat area, if you want to set something on it at the end of this. Because, yeah, some of them have, like, rocks and tree stumps that stick up. But, yeah, nice flat areas, too. If you want to put a dock up against it or something like that. Wow. Where was... So with this here, we have tree stems. Obviously, this one already has protruding roots, but it's the one that I got. So you could add more protruding roots, and they are designed, they go down below to this level here. So they go out into the water, and then you can extend a tree further up this way by, oh, came out on the wrong side. So you just grab some pliers, take it out, put it back in the bottom here. Technically, I can glue it in at some point. Here we go. So here is a little bitty corner there. And these work with these. So the whole point, this can be its own little area, just on its own. I can set it on top of a hole just to cover a hole if I want to raise this up, or if I don't want it to lift up from the ground. Yeah, that looks pretty nice there. Should go, and there's a variety of these inserts available and a variety of pieces that have the holes, so you can mix and match, but you see that works pretty easily. You have a couple little, I'll do these in a second. Got a little, what do they call it? Seal of binding, was it? Little magnetic piece to decorate things up. We got this tree, which likewise large stump, so it'll go in there. But also they have a couple of these little hanging moss bits, so if I want to just throw some moss over tree branches, I can. So that is cool. I think they said they made these wide enough. Let me check something. If I grab a dungeon, I think they said, yeah, they made it wide enough that the little hanging moss can hang over a dungeon too. Neat. And moving on to another box, the Swamp Banks Islands set. got a lot of the little bits here. I guess. I bet the reason this single one was in the other is because this one was one more than what just reusing the islands set allowed or whatever. Because I was like, why is there one in this box? There's a bunch of them. Because yeah, there's something different. 7 more. And they're all these little corners, which just makes for a tight turn. Or you can put 4 together and you can make a little thing there. So lots of bits to keep things turning. This little piece has a little spot for a pole accessory right there. Maybe we come across one of those. Here is the lily pads. So there it is with a mini scale. Flat bottomed. The little flowers on it do have some height to it. Otherwise pretty flat to set a mini on. This is another of these corners. Yeah, I remember we had up there, and you can just see. And in here we have a little tree stump that's different than the tree stumps that we got with Dreadhall. We got these brightly colored mushrooms on the side, and it has a hole in it. Is that? Yeah. So, we have that there. Another of these. Another of this end flat platform where 2 meet together from another separate box. And here is just a 3x3 swamp, just flat floor. Oh, I love that, where they had to cut down here in order to keep this puddle in, but trim away as much of the extra as they could. But got some nice depth to that little puddle, so not too bad. And yeah, so that's just that can be normal ground. We got the swamp pack. Looks like it has some trees and such. Lots of stuff in these little plastic protectors. So we have this small tree, same as we had the larger one before. This one, small tree, will extend the roots out to reach here. So look at that curved. That's so crazy. We have sort of a short tree. Lots of dead trees in here. Ooh, speaking of which, we have the black rot tree, if I remember. Obviously different color. So it's got a knot here that you can see there's a hole clear through it. There's different kinds of like stuff, like textures. Like a lot of it is this same texture, but then there's little patches like it almost looks like maybe a skull or that kind of thing in there. Not quite, but could be. But yeah, this withered old tree does have an anchor magnet. We have anchor magnet. One of these weird swamp plants. Which is bigger than a mini. So these are very large. What's this? The slink root, which is designed with these roots here that it'll just sit down. This doesn't go into any of the connectors. It just sits on top of things, but it's designed where it kind of looks like it could be grabbing out. So it's kind of reaching branches. We have a set here that contains a single tree. So, and he's like, I don't need to store them like this, right? I can just kind of throw them all in a box. They ship them so nice. But, I'm like, it seems like too much work. So this is a small tree peg tree. One has some decent height to it. We get a variety of these dead trees. Lots of different dead trees to populate my forest now, or swamps. This one has a little heft to it. A little more than some of the others. It's for not that big of a box. It's got some, certainly has some weight. It's not this. I think this is a reprint from before. I think this is the same tree that we'd already had. The large base, the gnarled tree that you got a single one of with the old Dread Hollow. A little greenery in the swamp, still looking very gnarled. And can make for a nice little coastline here. Oh, there's fuzz, cobweb, something. Whatever. Yeah, some of these ones are where this heft seems to be coming from. So, I guess with the big, thick rocks, you got a large tree stump base there. And this is just almost, there's a little patch of ground there, but otherwise like a stone that could be sticking up, out of the swamp, or it could just be on top of, you take one of the just normal piece of land and have it on top of there to decorate up your landscape as well. And this odd shaped one here works well to have some nice movement, some rock that sticks out enough so that if you have it like with any of the cliff sets, you can stick this out over the cliff to give a nice danger spot. Otherwise, none of the blue that makes it specifically swamp. But I guess if it's coming up out of water, it'll feel like a swamp. Okay, I think some of it is like these smaller ones, particularly where they have like, a tree stand it, so like something heavy could be on it. They left a little more weight to them to maybe balance the whatever weight of the tree you put on it, because some of the bigger ones just, they've made them lighter. Just little details like that single leaf that's just sitting on the rock. It's so nice. And there's one right there. Some really beautiful detail in these. Some grass growing up along the side of here. Just the post to get the magnet down to the surface on this this rock. It has a definite flat side, so it can go up against other flat-sided things if you want to combine a couple pieces together. And let's be looking for geometry like that, because they definitely put it in there intentionally, and I'm sure some unintentionally, but that right angle probably is not an accident. Oh, look, there's a little dragonfly. And I will go ahead and pull out the texture mat before I get further along. Although I did have a issue with communication in the factory that a comically short tube that was 1 foot long was put in the 2 foot wide texture mat, so you get some wrinkles. Admittedly, while present, I've seen images of so much worse online. So this is the idea of there's just a 2 foot texture mat so that you have a surface on which to build. So that it looks like there's this swampy water beneath it. So that's the idea with that. And this is the first I've seen of the texture mats. And one of the immediate things I notice is that there is a clear barrier right at the end here that goes that basically clearly this texture surface is added on top of whatever this material here that things are printed on, and this is super thin. This feels like thinner than paper kind of thin. It's hard to describe. Well, it's, thin as a sheet of paper, but with the flexibility of a piece of fabric. But yeah, so it's whatever this art of gross water with this glossy textured surface over it. And it's got a little grid, you can tell. Big controversy over the grids during the Kickstarter because people are like, oh no! But clearly you can barely see it. I can actually see it better on camera than I can in person. But it's enough that you can tell it's there and you can use it for movement. It's 2 foot by 2 foot. So you can put a couple of them together, etc. If you need more space. Also, there's this printed on the back, which it's just nice. And I should be able to just lay that out with something heavy under it to get the wrinkles that are there out. We have the Swamp Banks Swells pack. So another one that managed to use an existing pack before. Oh, yeah, okay. So the idea with this one, let's look at the prettiness. Magnet here. Gnarled tree stump here that's all worn down, and here's a base for a tree over here. Some swamp goo coming out. on various spots. Anyways, the idea is on one end you have normal thing here, but if you want to add an extra 3 inches, then this end will line up that way, and so you can just swell it out going that way. Or with this one, does the exact same in the other direction. Or putting them together, you just have a big spot that sticks out in the middle of a straight run. This one has lots of solid flat space here to build on or whatever. Flat space is your non-difficult terrain. If I have trouble standing the mini there, that's the difficult terrain. That's how you can tell. Ooh. And right here, man, I wonder how many of these I'm missing. That's a pole accessory hole. Again, we'll get to that, but so we got this large tree bit here, size of a person. Looks like it could be an arm grasping out, or it could just be a single branch where the tree fell down above that. We got another one of these little just little spots of ground that you can stick in the middle of your swamp, or a little hill that you can use to mix things up on, an area of flat ground. It has a spot for a pole accessory. And let's open up one of these little bitty ones, because I want one that has a pole accessory. So, got this, the Method reed. So it's got this little metal pole at the bottom, and that just slides in there, so now you have these reeds sticking up. Same issue that the tree had. Likewise, if you'd rather it come up out of these rocks, you can do the same there. In this little pack also. As a rock. Okay. Off. And that is why they put those little these in here, is because it got flipped on. So, got a rock that has power. So you can put this little green flickering light sticking out of the rock. Of course, this light can go in any of the other, mini dungeon and cavern sets have, city sets have the ability to take these lights, and then so these lights can go in there, other things can go in here. Variety of uses. We got swamp box here. Which has what do we got here? We got another one of these whatever, 3 inches across. A small straight. And this boulder, saving this piece that we opened up a while ago, has metal in it. So you got a magnet on the back, some pieces, and this flat boulder can take magnetic accessories. Have another couple of these little bitty just turns. We have another magnetic accessory. This is an interesting one. This one is like necrotic energy or whatever. It is like leaking out from something. And whoosh. Wish the back was painted. even if not textured, so it would go flat against stuff where it needs to. That way you could have it up there and it would look better from that way, but it's dark enough. It's fine. Then we got another little hummock that is different, smaller than this one, but has another little spot for a pole accessory. It's another little stone, just a single spot for someone to stand. And we have a log. And this is better than bad. It's good. So this is, where you have weird spot here. This is the log floating in the water, the fallen tree, the whatever it may be. It's a way to bridge certain paths, and obviously you can have spots where these branches can overhang a shoreline because they stick up and out over things. So a precarious way to get across an area. The next box here has a dice on top of it, which reminded me, I always send a tote bag with stuff. Like when you get a Kickstarter from Dwarven Forge, they got a tote bag. This time, one of the stretch goals also included this piece that was like in the tote bag instead of being in the actual set. I'm like, I should show this off. This does not connect to anything. This is simply designed as a compass marker to point north. So you can lay it down. Particularly, I guess, if you're particularly useful if maybe you're doing it on, like you're taking pictures of your set and you want to orient them multiple together, or maybe if you have like if you're going online and you have like a camera that's showing it, you can have this kind of in the corner to let people get a sense of direction as multiple maps connect. And looking at this die, which I can't, hold on. Here we go. I'm like, which I cannot roll because this is a metal die and it will damage my lovely gaming table. So, that is a 4. But, yeah, so, we have this dark, that is not the easiest to see, some of these numbers. Then you got this center band around here. It is, got like details and stuff from the swampy environment in it. So a sinking building there, and yeah, beautiful die. And the box that was attached to here, just some itty bitty fun pieces. Another of these single 3-inch wide pieces. Another lily pad, we've seen that. Seen one of these little tree stumps with a hole in it. This is new. This is a little plant. And this is just a piece of scatter. You can just set on wherever. A pretty little plant there. And then there's this. Now this is a pole accessory. So if we take one of these rocks like we've had before, Some of them seem like they're tighter than others. Anyways, you can have this sort of alligator skull detail just sort of sitting there. And our final box is the Swamp Stretch Goals. So some of these are going to be repeats, some are new. Okay. Let's start with. So we have 2 of these. It's like so. This is a grasping hand, which is definitely larger than a hand should be to scale. And when they showed it, they did not show this clear base, and I'm like, what is it? A pole accessory? Is it like I had no idea what it was gonna be, but it's just got this sort of clear, small little base here, so it can be a hand reaching out from the swamp or from a grave or whatever you want. We have another one of these. I think a third of these. The little mounds that have spots to put pole accessories. Let's fill my hand with this. We have a couple more lily pads. We have a couple more of these little mephit reeds that go into pole accessory spots. Couple more of these bits of hanging moss to put over trees or dungeon walls. We have 2 of these itty bitty things. See how tiny they are? That, in theory, in their lore, grow up to be these. So these are real tiny at this stage. And then a couple of these plants that about as tall as a person, and definitely would add some color. And so that is an exploration of the swamp. But just looking at the pieces alone, I felt didn't do as much justice as throwing an actual swamp together with those pieces. So I also have a little assembled swamp that I've put together. And put our little NPC in the middle there. So this makes for a very dense swamp or marshy area when put on this little mat. So, I mean, the set doesn't come with any sort of boat or barge, but you're not really going to be able to fit one through given how much is filled with land. Which can be good if you want to make a swamp that is navigatable by, you have to jump from one landmass to another to make your path around. Of course, you could also get more of the texture mats if you want to be able to have it be more open. I did build this on terrain trace. The texture mat itself is super thin, so the magnets work just fine with them. So that's good. I will note some of the pieces will need a bit of work. These 2 that match were, in my observation, the worst of that. And I figure most Dwarvenite works fine. You can run it under some hot water and kind of flatten it out. I did, they say, oh, you can put this on top here, but it just kind of wobbles too much. It might just be either this needs to be leveled out, because it has a little play as well, or because this one had a little bit of play in it, that it doesn't sit flat. So once I fix that, it may be fine. But yeah, so just able to kind of make an environment, and you get little bits of color with different things in here. The lily pads add some nice yellow. Let's see if I move. Of course, the black rot tree and the bullputs. Oh man, that's a nice magnetic adhesion. I love the anchor magnets. I really do. Yeah, and then there's things like here. We take off a tree so you can kind of see. This little section here is made up of 3 different rocks, and I just kind of pushed them all together and made it look like a single little piece there. So you have your rocky outcropping from the swamp, and I kind of put this other rock here, which I just sat on top of the flat part there, so it kind of looks like there's just an area that is very rocky over there. And again, you can just take off the tree tops as needed to actually play with the area. If it matters what direction is north, you just sort of set your compass somewhere on the map. If your seal binding breaks, you can have whatever oozing out. Mine actually came in such a way. This is a metal plate, and these are magnets. Now, magnets stick to each other. Mine happened to come in a way where they will stick in front of each other, so I can actually put mine attached on top of it to layer. It can burst out of the seal, which is cool. And if yours doesn't do it, you can obviously just pry one of the magnets out and flip it up the other way around. Yeah, and then this tree works great as just a tree that's coming directly out of the middle of the water, because all of its roots look like the extended roots that go into the water. So it's just sort of hovering there. Got the little moss hanging from bits around here. Like ultimately this raised platform here worked pretty well to make it where if you want to have a character be able to come up and, oh no, we have to sacrifice someone into the pod, there's a good jumping off spot for it. But yeah, that's a quick look at Explore the Swamp. I wasn't sure when I put it together, but in general, I can just kind of move a couple of these terrain trays and it moves the whole thing together. I gotta be careful with it. It's slow, but it does just kind of slide around, which has been useful. And lots of cool pieces. Lots of banks in particular, which is really the reason I chose this. I have, some, normal forest pieces from the Dread Hollow Forest set already. So this lets me do, I can add more landmass to the swamp using those if I just want to bulk it out a bit. If I want to do a lake, I can have enough to make a simple lake with a couple different configuration options. I can do a river cutting through an area if I want to divide it. Just a few different options that now having a bunch of banks opens up. And also, cool dead trees to add tree variety. It seemed like a decent option for how to get things started with expanding, although I definitely look forward to getting more. I always look forward to getting more. Once it shows up on the web store. And of course I'll link down below to Dwarven Forge's website, so in a month or two or whenever they get it up on the web store, you can try and pick some up yourself. but it's fun. It's quite engaging collection hobby, Dwarven Forge, and I enjoy it. It's beautiful. And it's fun to throw out for your players and just get their reactions. And when I'm playing, and one of my players, leans over and takes a picture of what we're doing because they like what I've set up. I mean, that's a cool feeling. But yeah, so lots of swampy bits, and I'll have another one of these with more of the stuff that I got from the Kickstarter later. But I figured the entire Explore the Swamp set was enough to put together for one video. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.